Valve's Steam Deck is the hottest gaming handheld on the market right now. If you don't have one, you're a chump. All the cool kids have Steam Decks these days, but you probably want to make yours stand out. You know, give it that pop, sizzle, bedazzle it. Make it your Steam Deck. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. From fancy stickers to custom boot screens, by the end of this video, your Steam Deck will truly be one of a kind. Let's take a crack at that outside first. As you can see, my Steam Deck looks quite different than your average deck. It's called peacocking. You gotta stand out sometimes. I get asked this question a lot in some of my other Steam Deck videos, but what I have on here is a vinyl skin. I purchased this from D-Brand. No, I'm not sponsored, and no, they don't have this red carbon fiber pattern anymore. They have some newer, different, cooler designs for you to check out, but something else that's changed is when I placed my order, I was allowed to mix and match the skins for the front and back of my device, but that's something they don't seem to let you do anymore. Of course, you can get your Steam Deck skins from pretty much anywhere. Extreme Skins is another good website to check out. If you like the red carbon fiber that I have, then they have that pattern over there. And they even let you mix and match skins for different parts of your device. Of course, if you prefer to support a more independent creator, then check out Etsy. The extra benefit being that these independent creators don't care so much about licensing fees for copyrighted IPs. So they'll be the ones designing more interesting themes, like a cyberpunk skin. Of course, you could also just make the skin yourself. This right here is some vinyl I had left over from a digital pinball machine I put together. This stuff is made for cars, but it works great on a bunch of surfaces. And really, it's probably the same kind of stuff D-Brand uses anyways. Now you could trace and cut out a stencil by hand, but hopefully you have access to something like a Cricut machine. Now check out my laptop here for a second. I actually put a skin on this just the other day using that same leftover material. What I did was I found a stencil online, and then I used a Cricut machine to cut the pattern into the vinyl. I even had some spare leftover material from my Steam Deck skin. So I took that stuff, ran it through the Cricut machine as well, and made a skin for my trackpad. It came out looking pretty... well, I actually think it's a little bit too much carbon fiber, but still, it looks really amazing. It's definitely a design I never would have been able to cut out by hand. But it proves that if you've got the equipment to work with, you can just make the skin yourself. If you're worried about the difficulty of applying a vinyl skin, then just know that it requires patience. Watch some videos online of people applying vinyl skins to devices. The vinyl itself is much more forgiving than you think. If you do make a mistake, you can usually smoothen out the edges by taking a hairdryer to the area and rubbing the vinyl to smoothen things out. The only really difficult part on the Steam Deck are these palm rests. These curves right here were by far the most annoying thing ever, and I didn't even have the patience to make them perfect. Stickers might work fine too if you really happen to like putting stickers on things and don't want to mess with vinyl. You can probably get some custom stickers made like this cute little Steam Pal. Sometimes it is just easier to slap a sticker on it and call it a day, though it's worth noting that most high quality vinyl doesn't leave residue if you decide to remove it, but I can't say the same for most stickers. Something that's even easier to remove is a case, but unfortunately I can't personally speak to any of them. I don't use a case with my Steam Deck. I would love to buy a whole bunch and test them and make a video about them all, but ultimately I don't have the funds to burn on a bunch of deck cases right now. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on which cases you may have used. The Unicorn Beetle cases look pretty cool. So does Project Kill Switch, but that got delayed because it was causing the fan to slow down. Either way, there's some interesting cases out there to take a look at. Now, without taking our deck apart, the last cosmetic change we can make on the outside is just to put on some thumbstick caps. You might want some that don't block the capacitive touch on the sticks, so try to keep an eye out for that. But if you're not a fan of the feel or texture of the default sticks, then this may be a welcome change for you, and it can make the sticks look kind of fun. Now we've gone over customizing the outside of your Steam Deck. Looking pretty snazzy there, kid, but we've only just scratched the surface. Well, hopefully not actually, but let's take a deeper dive into this thing and really see what we can do. Have you ever been browsing through your library of games and noticed some of them stick out, let's say? The art doesn't really seem to match with anything else in your library. And this is because the game is either a non-Steam application that you added to Steam, or the developers simply didn't update the game to add proper art for the Steam grid. There are a few ways we can change this, and you can even add custom art for your games if you like. Let's start by heading to Steam Grid DB in desktop mode. You should know how to do this by now. It's in your power options, just right here. Your trackpad works as a mouse, and you can push the Steam button and X button on your controller to bring up a virtual keyboard if you need to, or just plug in a keyboard and mouse. Open up a browser and head over to Steam Grid DB. This database contains tons of custom artwork for pretty much any Steam or non-Steam application you can think of. So let's check out something like Devil May Cry 5. And you can click here to see the original Steam assets, if there is any to begin with. Then you can compare with the custom artwork that's available and download some of those if you prefer. Even the animated images will work. Though I'm not entirely sure how that may impact battery life on the Steam Deck, and it also might make certain images slower to load when you're browsing through your library, so just keep that in mind. Now let's check out Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and if we look at the original Steam assets, we can see that there is only art for the header and a client icon. That explains why the game doesn't match with any other games in my grid view. It just simply doesn't have the art for it. So I want to download some new art for the grid, and I'm gonna go with this one. But before downloading, just double check the dimensions of the image. As you can see, this image has different dimensions than most of the other images, and there's a little GOG icon here, so this seems to be designed for use on GOG. Probably won't be a big problem, but let's just choose a different image anyways. This one seems like it's got everything I need, so we'll just click on it, and then click download. Afterwards, we're gonna right-click on this image and select Save Image As. Now I was having problems getting this to work on my Firefox browser at first, so I switched browsers to Edge, but eventually I did get it working on Firefox, so not super sure what was happening. If you're having problems downloading things like this, then just try a different browser. But a window should pop up that'll ask you where you want to save the image, and you can also rename it here, which I would definitely do, especially if you plan on downloading a ton of images. So I put some spaces in the name, and it didn't actually work. Like this that I just typed in won't actually work, so I ended up renaming it afterwards to MGR animated _ grid, which did end up working. But you could literally just name it grid 1 if you want, or whatever you think is going to help you identify what this picture is. Now you could just save the image here in your downloads folder, for example, or you could do what I did. Go to your pictures and make a folder for Steam Grid DB, then make subfolders for the different kinds of images. In this case, I downloaded a grid image, so I'm going to place it in my grid folder. And if you're wondering about these stretchy windows I've got here, don't worry, we'll cover that after. The rest is simple. Open Steam and locate the game you want to change the art for in your library. Right-click, select Manage, then set Custom Artwork. Then you gotta find the image. In my case, it's in Home, Deck, Pictures. Yours might be in Downloads if you left it there. And then for me, it continues on to the folders that I made. So Home, Deck, Pictures, Steam Grid DB, Grid. And there's my image. Select it and give the image a second to load. Congrats! You just did a thing. Now that takes care of the grid image, but when you click on a game, you can see this background image and a logo. If the game doesn't have a logo, then it just displays some basic white text. So here's an example of a game with a logo, and then here's one without one. Download a logo and a background on Steam Grid DB. The backgrounds are in the Hero category here. Then once you've selected your game in Steam, you can right-click on the background to have the option to set custom background and logo. And the process of finding the image you downloaded is pretty much the same as before. If you left all of your downloads in your download folder, they're all going to be there. If you move them to custom folders like I did, then they're going to be wherever you put them. That's why keeping it organized and naming it properly will help you out here. But again, keep the names simple. Now I downloaded an animated background. It was actually in the wrong format, so just make sure you select the .png download and use that instead. And voila, it's perfect. Now you can really use any image, so long as it fits the proper dimensions, so go nuts with it. Have fun, make it yours. If you have a ton of games that don't have artwork, maybe you added a bunch of emulated games or something like that, then there are tools that you can use to sort of do it all for you automatically instead of changing it all manually, but I don't think I'm going to be covering that in this video. I may cover it in a video in the future, not 100% sure yet. Either way, let's move on to the next thing. Now remember those stretchy pulley windows I had? Let's get to customizing our desktop a little. I shouldn't have to tell you how to change your wallpaper, right? Or how to change the theme of your browser. There are plenty of resources online to help you do stuff like that. So let's just get those stretchy windows. Select System Settings, then Workspace Behavior, then Desktop Effects. Take a look here and toggle whatever settings you might be interested in. Wobbly Windows is the setting we're looking for here. So toggle it, click Apply, and give it a try. And that's it. Your windows are wobbly now. You want your windows to blow up when you're done with them? Toggle Fall Apart, and watch your world shatter. Suck them into a magic lamp when you minimize them? And you can do that too. You can even install new effects if you're feeling extra spicy. Click here, and feel free to browse what's on offer. But we're not quite done yet. Go back to System Settings, then this time select Appearances. Here you can change your theme, plasma style, icons, etc. So let's change around a few of these options. I took a design idea from user Kush's on Reddit, so all credit goes to them. Let's change our plasma theme to Sweet Mars. If you don't see this or would prefer a different theme, then just click on Get New Style and you can browse or search for styles over there, and this goes for all the options we'll be looking at. For colors, I'm gonna go with Sweet Mars again. For window decorations, we'll go with this ghost one, and I'm not gonna touch fonts or cursors or anything, but we will change our icons to Beauty Line. There we go, a fancy looking desktop. Have fun getting distracted by your wobbly windows for the next 5 minutes and not getting anything done. You want more? Right click on your desktop, select Add Widget, then find a neat looking widget and put it on your desktop. You might have to right click on it and either configure some settings or edit its location to get things set up just the way you like. But overall, we just customize our desktop experience. Play around and find some styles you like. Let me know what you come up with. Slightly off topic, but one reason I've always been jealous of dog owners is because when they come home after a long day of work, they're greeted by this excited little bundle of pure joy, a companion that's more excited to see you than anyone else in the world. And so to simulate that feeling of love, why not try installing a custom boot animation for your Steam Deck? So while we're in desktop mode, open up an instance of your Dolphin file browser. Click on this little icon here. Some people call it a sandwich, others a stack menu. Either way, you then want to toggle the option to show hidden files if it's not already on, so just double check. Alright, now if you're not already there, select Home, then navigate to .steam, then root, then config. While we're here, right click and create new folder. Name it UI Overrides. And yes, it is case sensitive, so all lowercase, and spell it correctly. Take a moment to double check your spelling. Within that folder you just made, make a new folder in there and name that one Movies. Again, case sensitive, so all lowercase and spell it correctly. And with that, we have now just set things up for a manual installation. We just need some vids. Good place to check out is going to be steamdeckrepo.com. We got custom boot and suspend videos here for you to check out. Browse around, find something you like, click on it, watch the preview. And if you want it, then just click download. And if you scroll down, you may also find instructions on how to install these videos as well. For example, I just showed you the manual install option, which I like since I know where the files are located in case there's a problem with something. If you use the Decky plugin or would prefer an app to manage boot vids, then here are some pretty clear instructions on how to do that. For now, we're just going to finish up with the manual install. The suspend videos require an extra step, so for a boot video, just download it and copy that file into the folder we made earlier. For reference, that's located over in Home, Deck, .steam, Root, Config, UI Overrides, and Movies. Those last two folders are the ones that we made. After you've got the file in there, rename that file to deck_startup.webm. Exactly like that, case sensitive and all. Your boot vid is now complete. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now for suspend videos. Like I said, there's an extra step here. Find a suspend animation you like, download it, and copy that file over to the same place as before. Home, Deck, .steam, Root, Config, UI Overrides, Movies. Place the file there and rename it to deck-suspend-animation.webm or deck-suspend-animation-from-throbber.webm. I think either works, so I don't know why you wouldn't just go with the first one because it's shorter, but either or, let's say. Now the animation may play, but the video isn't going to be full screen unless we play around with some stuff. Let's follow the instructions on Steam Deck Repo. Open your Discover Store and download an app called Notepad QQ. In your Dolphin file browser, navigate to Home, Deck, .local, Share, Steam, Steam UI, CSS. You can also just click here and type that in instead of clicking around if you don't like clicking all the time. And again, make sure that Show Hidden Files is toggled on, or else you won't see these files. You should see a file called 1010.css. So right click and open with Notepad QQ. You're gonna be bombarded with text here, so don't panic, just breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. I've got a keyboard plugged in. I'm just gonna hit the Control key plus the F key to bring up the search function. And I'm just gonna type in what I need to type in, which is this here. And I'm gonna hit search. It'll highlight the text for me, okay? It seems to be over here on line 42, just a little bit to the right, although it's kind of hard to scroll right with the trackpad. Now we just got to change some numbers. So where it says flex-grow:0, we're going to change that 0 to a 1. And then where it says width:300 pixels, we're going to change that 300 pixels to 0100%, so 100% with an extra 0 at the beginning. The same thing for height:300 pixels. Just change that 300 pixels to 0100%. And when you're done, you should have changed this line to look like this. Just double check, make sure everything's good, and if so, you can now save and quit out and whatever. And give yourself a pat on the back, because that was a lot of numbers. I'm not sure if there's like an easier automatic way to install the Suspend videos. They don't seem to have instructions for those on Steam Deck repo. It only seems to have manual installation instructions right now. But you only have to do that once, thankfully, and now just any Suspend videos you put in should work. Your reward is priceless.
Goodbye.
Okay, we're all done, and your Steam Deck is looking like the belle of the ball. You must be so proud. If you got what you came for, then you can head out now. I'm just gonna ramble on for a little bit and tie up some loose ends. I did not cover plugins such as Decky in this video. I may do a video on plugins and stuff like that in the future. I'm not 100% sure yet. There's a lot to consider with plugins. They allow you to do some very awesome and cool things. The plugin called Decky, for example, would streamline the process of installing custom boot videos, though some people have noted experiencing some issues, such as random crashes when they've installed too many plugins, so it's all worth considering. I'm looking into it when I can. If I get around to making a video on it, you'll see it. It's been a while since my last Steam Deck video, and I do have a few more planned, I think, amongst all the other videos I plan on making, but I've never gotten around to doing. Anyways, I'll leave links in the description for all the websites and stuff that I mentioned. None of them are going to be affiliate or referral links or anything like that, as far as I know. If that changes, I'll update the description, but either way, I appreciate you and everything you do. Ciao.
Goodbye.